When Google first launched its smartwatch platform, Samsung was one of its very first manufacturer partners, but in the years since, things have changed. Google was slow to upgrade and update its system, and so Samsung, like many other tech manufacturers, decided to go its own way. But now in 2021, both companies have seemingly realized that their platforms aren't quite matching up to market leader Apple's standards, so they've joined forces. And the first watch running this new platform is the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4. I'm Cam Bunton, and this is my review. And while you're here, if you could tap like, subscribe, and the notification bell, that would be magical. Samsung's standard Galaxy Watch 4 is quite a plain looking device. The case is made from a form of aluminium and features a completely flat but round glass on top of the display. There are two buttons on the right side and you can customize what they do to an extent. The top button with the red accent is your home button that takes you back to the watch face with a single click, and a long press defaults to opening Bixby, but can be used as a power menu launcher instead if you want to. Long pressing the bottom button launches Samsung Pay by default, enabling contactless wrist payments. Otherwise, it's a back button. Confusingly, neither of the buttons is defaulted to launching into a workout. Instead, you need to swipe on the touchscreen to get to that option. The strap is a simple affair, but it's one that we really like. Similar to Apple's standard silicone bands, it loops in underneath itself, so you don't get any part of it sticking out or flapping about. Wearing it day in and day out is comfortable. It's lightweight and the silicone strap fits snugly around the wrist. And despite being a 44mm case, we didn't find that it seemed all that large, but then again, I have quite large wrists, so those of you with smaller wrists might find it a bit big, and thankfully there's a smaller model for you too. The underside of the watch looks very similar to other recent Samsung watches, with the optical sensors surrounded by shiny reflective panels. And as for the screen, that's bright, colourful and completely round. And animations on it are fluid and responsive, which is great, and an improvement over everything Samsung and Google have done before. Wear OS has had its fair share of issues. Mainly, it was lacking any decent built-in fitness tracking. It also lacked properly customizable watch faces, but that's changed now, at least with Samsung's watch. In a lot of ways, it feels a lot more like a Googlified version of Samsung's previous Tizen platform than a completely new version of Wear OS. That's because Samsung's influence is heavy. Being a Samsung watch, it defaults to Samsung Health for its fitness and wellness tracking, but because it's Wear OS, you do have the option to download third-party apps from the Play Store, so you can install Strava or Google Fit or whichever takes your fancy. The one feature that really ups the experience though is being able to customize the installed watch faces. There's far more granular control over the elements that make up the design. You can choose the index style or change the complications, or change the accent colours and the hand styles, with a lot more colour options to choose from as well. Even the always on display is colour, so if you want to see the time all the time, you can. That is, if you're happy for battery life to suffer. When you get messages through, whether it be standard SMS or WhatsApp or Telegram, you can reply to those messages, either using your voice or using a tiny fiddly little keyboard on the screen. The latter is a great way of making you flustered, and actually most of the time it's better just to grab your phone and reply that way. The one thing you will notice coming from older Wear OS watches though is how different the interface is. For instance, swiping up from the bottom of the screen reveals the app grid, which you'll either love or hate. Swiping down from the watch face reveals quick setting shade, as it does with most watches, while swiping right to left gets you to your widgets. To get to notifications though, you have to swipe from left to right. It's similar to how Samsung has done it for a while and means there's no Google Discover screen anymore, at least not on Samsung's flavour of Wear OS. Despite changes for anyone coming from older Wear OS versions, it doesn't take all that long to get used to it. And if you're coming from older Samsung watches, it'll feel very familiar. There just seems to be a bit more meat on the bones this time around. In our regular daily testing of the 44mm watch, we found the battery could comfortably make it through 2 days on a full charge, sometimes a little more. It's worth noting this is with the always on display switched off. It's also worth noting that this is the larger model of the two sizes and features a considerably larger battery. You may struggle to get the same result if you opt for the 40mm model. Regardless, it never gave us any of the battery anxiety we've experienced before on older Wear OS watches. And when it comes to charging, the standard method for refilling is a magnetic disc that easily snaps onto the back of the watch. But if you want to, you can use your phone's reverse wireless charging too. That is, of course, if you have a phone with that feature. Now, it's in fitness and health where this watch I feel really comes into its own. For overall health and movement, it has the usual tracking capabilities, like measuring how much you move during the day like any good fitness tracker does. And it incentivizes you by offering rings to close. There are steps, calories burned, and active time. If you're still for too long, it'll also encourage you to get up and do some stretches or squats. Samsung's attempting to be more holistic in its approach to health as well by offering more advanced sensors for your heart health. As you'd expect, it'll track your heart rate through the day, measuring your averages, but like Apple Watch, has a built-in ECG feature to look out for irregularities that could indicate health issues. Now, of course, this is no replacement for you going to your doctor and getting yourself checked out properly, but it's useful to have and could spot issues in advance so you can go and get yourself checked out. There's also a new body measurement tool, so rather than just use the app to ask you how much you weigh and how tall you are, it also has a feature that measures your body composition. By launching the feature, then holding your middle and ring fingers on the buttons, it sends a signal through your body and attempts to work out how much fat, water and muscle you're made up of. Of course, again, a wrist-worn device isn't ever going to be completely accurate with stuff like this. But we did find it to be consistent. We measured a few times and the results were similar each time, so chances are if you're working to decrease the amount of body fat you have or increase your muscle mass, the watch will pick up on those improvements. And as mentioned, you can wear it at night to track the quality of your sleep. Sadly though, we found it about as accurate as any other wrist-worn device, because if you're still for too long, whether you're sitting on the sofa and watching a movie or reading a book in bed, it'll think you're asleep. And that can skew your results quite a bit. Its strength, we think though, is actually as a workout tracking watch, or more specifically as a running watch. For that, it's superb. We tested on a number of different running sessions alongside our Garmin Fenix 6 Sapphire and found it was pretty much bang on with that. In one quite long 80-minute session, it measured almost exactly the same distance using its GPS sensor as the Fenix did. It was within 10 meters. And on a session that's over 10 kilometers, that's pretty amazing. Comparing cadence, heart rate and other information was really similar as well. It even adopts some of the more experimental running features from the previous generation of Galaxy watches as well. So that means advanced running metrics. These include things like asymmetry to make sure you're not landing heavier on one foot than the other, contact time or flight time or regularity, vertical movement and stiffness. Now, while experienced runners might find that all they need is to track and log data, others might not know where to start, and Samsung Health has those people covered as well. The fitness section of the Samsung Health app has a load of video guides and training plans to choose from. Whether you want to find a quick workout to improve your core strength or start a 5K training plan. Now, in the end, as it stands, at least when it comes to features and capabilities, the Galaxy Watch 4 is the best smartwatch for Android users right now. It's got pretty much everything you could ask for. Whether you need customizable watch faces, great fitness tracking, interactive notifications, or wrist-based payments or music, the latest Samsung Watch does all of it, and does it well. The regular model is quite dull looking with its flat, featureless design, and the lack of iPhone compatibility means it's really only for Android users. But it's the most complete package in terms of features that we've seen yet, for those that it's made for. Let me know what you think of this new era for Wear OS in the comments section down below, and if you did like this video, please do leave a thumbs up, it helps us a lot. And if you want to catch all our latest videos, hit subscribe and tap the notification bell. I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.